Hello, and welcome to my Darksiders Genesis Quick Thoughts. I've played through roughly the first level, and I want to give my first impression as well as if I recommend this game. History. Darksiders has had quite the history. Originally created by THQ and Vigil Games, the first Darksiders was a dark and gritty Legend of Zelda clone that did a fantastic job of recreating the feel of the classic dungeon-solving adventure game. Darksiders 2 took the franchise in a slightly different direction, with its focus on upgrading loot and constantly changing weaponry, but the core of the game was still an action-adventure with puzzle-solving dungeons in an open-world environment. Darksiders 3, the first in the franchise published by THQ Nordic, changed the formula more dramatically with its Souls-like combat and difficulty. However, even this game was still, at its core, a third-person action-adventure with puzzle-solving elements. So, when I heard Genesis was going to be a top-down twin-stick shooter, I was worried that the franchise had taken a step too far away from its core competencies. Luckily, I was shown I had nothing to worry about within the first few minutes of gameplay. While the game is dramatically different, sporting a Diablo-esque view and being broken into levels rather than supporting a full open world, the puzzle solving and exploration still hold true to the core Darksiders experience. I was pleasantly surprised to see how well they were able to maintain the puzzle-solving aspects of the original games while shifting to a gameplay style that fits the newest protagonist of the franchise: the characters. Speaking of the new protagonist, let's talk about the playable characters. That's right, plural. In this game, you have the ability to play as both Strife and War. War, being the protagonist from the very first Darksiders, makes his official return to the playable roster in Genesis, with a surprisingly similar combat style despite the top-down view. With light and heavy melee attacks and, eventually, a throwable glaive-style weapon, War feels good, though a bit out of place at times. Strife, however, feels like the game was built for him. Probably because it was. Strife focuses on long-ranged attacks using twin pistols, which feels very at home in the top-down style. While he does have a melee ability, you will most likely find yourself simply dashing away from enemies instead of engaging them head-to-head. Each character has their own health bar and wrath meters to activate their own special abilities. Also, something important to talk about is the tone of the game. Most Darksiders games have a very grim-dark tone, and while that is present here, Strife does a very good job of keeping things light and fun. In fact, he and War will continuously talk throughout the levels with witty banter reminiscent of an 80s buddy cop movie. I found myself smiling along while listening to them quip and bicker throughout the level. The game also has two-player co-op, both split screen, a rare treat for PC, and online. Each player chooses one of the horsemen and off you go. Problems. Of course, no game is without its issues, and Genesis definitely has a few. A. Buttons. Oh boy, are there a lot of buttons to press. I played on keyboard and mouse as I find that most satisfying for top-down twin-stick style shooters like Wizard of Legend and Nuclear Throne. That being said, the game does suggest you play on a controller, and I'm thinking I know why. There are so many skills and abilities and actions to keep track of. I found myself in several situations getting surrounded by enemies, wanting to dash out, and pressing jump instead. Or having to press 1 in a hurry to activate a wrath ability, causing me to stop moving long enough for me to activate my ability, usually ending up in me getting hit. Also, just as a side note, I absolutely recommend using a controller if you plan on playing as War. His gameplay feels very clunky and stunted on keyboard and mouse. B. The map. The map in this game is usable, but very annoying to navigate. I kind of wish I had a minimap like previous games in the franchise, but instead you have to stop and look at your map to determine if you have collected everything or where to go next. It's a simple thing to do, but the previous games didn't have the issue, and I'm wondering why this one does. C. Slightly janky controls. I'm not talking about anything serious, just a few things that bug me. Mounting the horse takes a second, and noticeably would send me in a wild direction I wasn't pressing when I mounted. And when I dismounted the horse, I had to release the direction buttons I was holding to move while mounted, because when I landed, my character would either just stand still or not move in the direction I was telling them to. Just wish that was a bit more fluid. Would I recommend this game? I think the game does a very good job at doing what it was attempting to do. The game is solid and fun to play, and I bet the co-op, which I did not try in my short test playthrough, would make the game even better. At $29.99, I think it's worth picking the game up on Steam, or, at the time of this review being published, the game is currently on Xbox Game Pass for PC and Xbox. If you're a fan of the franchise, or just enjoy a good twin-stick shooter with co-op and puzzle solving, I'd say this game is worth a playthrough. Thank you everybody for coming out to my very first sort of like short review. I want to do more of these in the future, especially as more games come out that I have easy access to. We're probably going to be doing a lot of Game Pass stuff, so be wary of that. But anything else that comes out that I think is worth looking at, I'm going to try and do one of these short reviews. Let me know how you thought about it. If you want to chat with me directly, I do have a Discord. It's in the description below. Otherwise, please feel free to subscribe for more content. I've also got a Twitch channel if you want to watch me play video games live. I typically try to do that every Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the mornings, and then on Saturdays we play in the afternoon. But thank you very much. I've been Paladin Null. This has been my quick thoughts on Darksiders Genesis. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.